Okay, let's take a look at your carbohydrates. And so your carbohydrates, they're actually hydrates of your carbon. Okay. And so accordingly, the name carbohydrates originally meant a compound with the empirical formula of CN actually, and CnH2O accordingly. And so that is literally you have here a hydrate of your carbon. For that, and so this definition accordingly has broadened to include your aldehydes and your ketones in this what you call your aldehydes and your ketones having your two or more hydroxyl groups. Okay, and so among the compounds that fall into the class of your carbohydrates are your starch, your cellulose, your glycogen, and your sugars accordingly. And so your carbohydrates here are important source of energy for all organisms. And they form the supporting tissues of your plants and your animals. Okay, and so you have your three important classes of your carbohydrates. You have here your monosaccharides, your disaccharides, and your polysaccharides. Okay, and so you have here your aldehyde or ketone derivative, your what you call this, your carbohydrates accordingly are aldehyde or ketone derivatives of your polyhydric alcohols. And so due to the presence of your aldehyde group and your ketone group accordingly. Okay. Okay, and so let's take a look at your what you call this functions of your what you call this your carbohydrates. Okay, and so they are the major source of your cellular fuel. Okay, and so they are your in energy yielding nutrients, and so for that they serve as your primary source of your metabolic fuel needed by a living body as a means to store and reserve energy in the form of glycogen. Okay, and then you have here, they make your structural component of your living cells. And so they serve as your what they call this structural components of your living cells. And so for that, as a your carbohydrates combine with your proteins to form your glycoproteins and your proteoglycans that are very important components of your cell membrane. Okay, and so other than that, of course, you have your glycoprotein, your peptidoglycan that is present in your bacteria, and then of course your glycolipid. And then as a backbone precursor of your substances of some important molecules. Okay, and so for that, a very good example of that is your what they call this the carbohydrate, the sugar present in your DNA and your RNA. Okay, and so you have that make part of your nucleotides. And then, of course, your some carbohydrates on the plasma membrane mediate interactions between cells. And so for that, they mediate interactions between cells. And so like your blood types are determined by specific membrane-bound carbohydrates. Okay. And then as building materials. Okay. And so as building materials. And so examples of that, your cellulose, it's found in wood, and so in cotton, in your paper. Okay, and so your cellulose, that is a form of your carbohydrate that is used as a building material. Take a look at your classification of your carbohydrates. And so this one, and so your carbohydrates are classified according to the number of what you call this saccharide units present. Okay, and so your what you call this your saccharin, ayan, so your Latin saccharin means sugar, okay? And so you have your monosaccharide, and so that is the simplest carbohydrate and has only one saccharide unit. And so this one, your monosaccharide here, cannot be broken down into smaller carbohydrate molecules by your hydrolysis. Okay? And then you have your disaccharides. Your disaccharides here, they are what you call this contains two monosaccharide units. And so it contains two monosaccharide units. And so for that, it can be hydrolyzed to give two monosaccharide units. And so if you have monosaccharide plus one monosaccharide, then it will give you a disaccharide unit. And then you have your oligosaccharide. And so your oligosaccharide are polymers made up of 2 to 10 monosaccharide units. Okay, and so you have 2 to 10 monosaccharide units. And then for your polysaccharides, they are giant polymers made up of monosaccharide units, and they are considered as the most complex carbohydrates because they contain more than 10 saccharide units. Okay, that your saccharide, your what you call this, your carbohydrates are classified probably according to the number of carbon atoms present. And so that is why you have here your what you call this diose for your two carbon sugars, your triose for your three carbon sugars, your tetrose for your four carbon sugar, and your what you call this, the rest. Okay, and so for your diose, you have examples here, your glycoaldehyde, your triose, you have your glyceraldehyde, and then your tetrose, you have your erythrose, your erythrulose, your what they call this pentose, of course, you have your deoxyribose and your ribose. Okay, and then you have your hexose, you have your six carbon sugar, you have your glucose, your mannose, your fructose, your galactose, and then you have your heptose, you have your seven carbon sugar, you have your monoheptose, your monoheptulose. Okay, and so these are your classifications of your sugars, your monosaccharide based on the number of carbon present in the chain. Okay. So let's take a look at your what you call this, your Fisher projection formula of your glucose and your fructose. Okay, and so your glucose here, and so it contains an aldehyde group, and so that is why it is an aldose sugar. While for your fructose, it contains a ketone group, and so that is why it is called as a ketose sugar. Okay, and so they are what you call this, and so of course for this one. And so your carbohydrates can be classified as a ketose or aldose. Ayan, so that is based on the functional group present in the what they call this. That is based on the functional group present in the compound, in the carbohydrate. Okay, and so the functional group of carbohydrates is the carbonyl group. Ayan, so that is, or your carbonyl group. Ayan, so you have your C double bond O for that. For your aldehyde group, ayan, so you have there, or your aldose. And so you have your polyhydroxyaldehyde in the carbonyl group is found at one of the terminal sites of your hydrocarbon chain. While for your ketos, and so you have, they are what you call this polyhydroxyketone, and the carbonyl group is found in between two hydrocarbon group. And so for this one, and so you have for your ketone group, that is just your C double bond O only. And so C double bond O R R dapat yon. And then for this, and so you have here your C double bond O and an H and a hydrogen attached. And so that is for your aldehyde group. And so while for this one, and so you only have here your C double bond O for your ketone group. Okay? Okay, so let's take a look at your aldehyde group. And so again, this your what you call this, your sugars are classified according to the location of your carbonyl group. Okay, and so for your aldose, your carbonyl group is found at one of the terminal sites of the hydrocarbon chain. Or there is the presence of your aldehyde group present in the what you call this, in your in your carbohydrate. Okay. And so this is your functional group of your aldehyde. And so for that, you have there your what you call this, in the presence of your aldehyde group in your carbohydrate, then you call that sugar as aldose. Then of course you call your what you call this a sugar that contains a ketone group if you have the presence of your ketose, and so you call a sugar ketose if you have the presence of your ketone group in the carbohydrates. Okay, and so your ketose sugar, or you have your carbonyl group is found in between two hydrocarbon groups. And so you have here your C double bond O here. Okay, and so that is your ketone group. And so your monosaccharides also, the what you call this, they show your isomerism. And so can form isomers. And so your isomers, and so they contain the same number of atoms at the same element, and so but differ in the structural arrangement. Again, in your isomers, there is a structural rearrangement. And so if you what they call this count the molecular weight, you have the same. And so you also have what they call this the same elements present, the same number of elements, the same molecular weight present, but then there is a difference in the what they call this arrangement. And so there is a difference in the arrangement, and of course also in the properties of the what they call this the sugar. Okay, and so that is your for that your sugars can exhibit isomerism also. And so they have your isomers. You also have what you call as your epimers. And so we're in your two sugars. You have your two sugars which differ only in the configuration around a single carbon atom. Okay, and so your epimers, you have your two sugars which differ in only in the configuration around a single carbon atom. Okay. And so an example for this, one example given for you is your glucose and your mannose. Okay, and so you have here your glucose and your mannose. At the second carbon atom, you have here your what you call this, your difference in the arrangement of your uh, hydrogen and hydroxyl group. Okay. And so you have here your asymmetric carbon. And so this refers to the carbon atom in the structure of a sugar to which four different radicals are attached. Okay, and so you have there for that. And so your glucose, accordingly for this, each have identical functional groups with different spatial configurations at your fourth carbon atom accordingly. Okay. And so let's take a look at your stereoisomerism of your carbons. Okay, and so you have here isomers that have the same molecular and structural formulas, but different in the orientation of atoms in the space. Okay, ayan, so you have here your stereoisomerism depends on the spatial orientation of your hydrogen and your OH group attached to your carbon atom that is adjacent to your terminal primary alcohol group. Okay, and so you have here also your stereoisomerism will give you the ability to form two sugars which are mirror images to each other. And so that is and then, of course, your configuration of your what you call this isomers are actually based on the location of your hydroxyl group linked to the carbon atom, which is the next to your terminal accordingly. And so your enantiomers here, and so you have here the ability to form two sugars, which are mirror images of each other but non-superimposable to each other. And so let's take a look at your what they call this enantiomers at the next. Ayan, so accordingly, ayan, so you have here your what they call this, your mirror images of your sugar, and they are non-superimposable. Okay? And so you have your D isomer and your L isomer accordingly here. Okay, so let's take a look at your mutarotation. Okay, your sugars, they can also undergo your mutarotation or you have their optical activity. Okay, and so for this, your mutarotation is the change in optical rotation to achieve your equilibrium. Okay, your mutarotation also, that is the ability of a sugar to bend or deflect your plane of a polarized light. Okay, and so you have what you call this as your dextro-rotatory and your levo-rotatory here. And so for your dextro-rotatory, and so that is at the right, to the right, and your levo-rotatory that is to the left accordingly. Ayan, or your dextro-rotatory, that is your right-handed isomer, and your levo-rotatory is your left double-handed isomer of your glucose. And so for that, your what you call this muta rotation will yield you your D-glucose and your L-glucose accordingly. And so that is for your muta rotation. Okay, and so let's take a look at your monosaccharides, your important monosaccharides. And so number one on the list, you have your glucose, that is otherwise known as your grape sugar, your blood sugar, your plasma sugar, or your dextrose. Okay, and so your dextrose, that is what they call this, yan yung, uh, that is in your IV line, no? Okay, and so you have here, this is the most abundant sugar in your bloodstream and the most common source of your cellular fuel in the form of your adenosine triphosphate, and of course, from which most complex carbohydrates are made from. Okay, and so of course, if you combine more and more and more of your glucose or your monosaccharides, of course, it will give you your polysaccharides or your complex carbohydrates. And your natural sugar, your natural glucose, what they call this, they are mostly in the dextrorotatory form. And so mostly of your natural glucose, they are in your D form accordingly. Okay, and so let's take a look at your galactose. And so you have the real glucose and then you have your galactose. Okay, and so for your galactose, that is also known, that is your brain sugar. Ayan, so they exist in the brain and in the nervous tissue in the form of your glycolipids. And so again, they are conjugated with your lipids. Okay, and so this one is an aldohexose. Ayan, so this one is an aldohexose, and it is what they call this, less, it's not sweet. It's not as sweet as your glucose. Ayan, so it is not a natural sugar. Ayan, so they are not obtained from plants or animals, your galactose. Okay, and then of course it has the fastest rate of absorption in the small intestines. Then you have your mannose. Your mannose, these are your naturally occurring aldohexose. And so your naturally occurring aldohexose. And then, and so your D-mannose here accordingly is an epimer of your glucose. And so it is an epimer of your glucose. And so they exist primarily as sweet tasting. And so at a 67%. And so for the alpha, and then bitter tasting for the beta anomer of your pyranose accordingly. And so this one, your D-mannose, your mannose here is a naturally occurring aldohexose. Again, it has your aldehyde group present in the carbohydrate. Okay, and so you have here, and then your L-mannose is not normally used in your biological systems. Okay, and so you have your D-mannose, and so that is what they call this. They are not found free in the nature, but is widely distributed in the form of your polysaccharide. Okay, and then your L-mannose, again, they are not found normally used in your biological systems. So let's take a look at your fructose or your levulose. And so this one, your D-fructose or your levulose is other known as your fruit sugar. And so this is the sweetest of all sugars. And so it has the highest relative sweetness among all your sugars. Okay. And so for this, it is a natural ketohexose. And it also occurs in, also found in your honey aside from your fruits. Ayan, so okay. Ayan, so this one is a natural ketohexose again. For that, this is a monosaccharide that has six carbon atoms, and then you have the presence of your ketone group in the carbohydrate. Okay? And so also serves as a source of energy for your sperm cells, and so it serves as an energy for your sperm cells, and your liver can convert your fructose to glucose accordingly. And so that is for your fructose or your level, your most important disaccharides. Okay, and so as what you said, as what we said earlier, your disaccharides are composed of your two saccharide units. And so for that, they are formed when your two monosaccharide molecules combine by splitting out a molecule of water. And so for this one, you have your glycosidic linkage that joins the two sugars always involves the hemiacetal OH group of one sugar and one of the OH group on the other monosaccharide. And so a very good example, I mean, number one on the list of your disaccharides is actually your sucrose. And so your sucrose here, this is your table sugar that is made by combining your alpha D glucose and beta D fructose. And so your sucrose is made by combining your alpha D glucose and your beta D glucose. And so your linkage is of course your alpha beta linkage for this. And so they are considered your what you call this your sucrose is considered as a non-reducing sugar. Ayan, so this is a sugar which does not react with Tollens or your Benedict's reagent. Ayan, so they are natural and non-reducing disaccharides. And then your sources of your sucrose are your sugar and your sugar beets. Okay, and so when your sucrose undergoes hydrolysis, it produces an equimolar mixture of your glucose and fructose called your invert sugar. Ayan, so through the action of the enzyme sucrase or your invertase. Okay, and so for this, you have here your invertose or your invert sugar saccharide. Ayan, so these are actually your source of your artificial softeners. Here, your lactose. Your lactose is also known as your milk sugar. And so this is the least sweet of your sugars. And this is the only monosaccharide which may be absorbed in the, sorry, this is the only non-monosaccharide which may be absorbed into the genital systemic circulation. Ayan, so you have here, this one, your lactose is made by combining your beta D glucose and, sorry, your beta D galactose and your D glucose. And so the linkage is your beta 1,4 linkage for this. And so in the body, and so your lactose is broken down by the action of your enzyme known as your lactase. And so for this, it will yield your one glucose and one galactose units. Okay? Ayan, so what we call this, your deficiency of the enzyme lactase will lead to an inability to absorb lactose, and the condition is called as your lactase deficiency syndrome or your lactose intolerance. Okay, and so this condition, your lactase deficiency syndrome or your lactose intolerance, is controlled by the elimination of all. Ayan, so you can control this one. Ayan, so you can manage your lactase deficiency syndrome or your lactose intolerance by eliminating all your dietary sources of your lactose. And so examples of your dietary sources of your lactose, you have your dairy products and some medications accordingly. And so your lactase here is present in the GIT or at birth and decreased by the time the baby is 1.5 years old. Okay, and so again, your what they call this the food of your newborns accordingly is your milk. Okay, and so your milk, that is why you need more of your lactase for this. Maltose. And so your maltose here, this is your malt sugar. And so this one, when what they call this hydrolyzed, will yield two molecules of glucose. And so for this, you have your alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. And so they are found in combined form as starch and is one of the intermediate products in the digestion of your starch. Ayan, so you have here your, this one is derived from malting or what you call this brewing your what you call this your sugar. Okay, and so you have your enzyme maltase. And so your enzyme maltase breaks your maltose into your two glucose units. And so the malt produced includes malt starch and enzymes that are able to convert malt into your maltose, which is then fermented to produce your alcohol. And so that is for your malt. Okay, let's take a look at your cellulobiose. And so your cellulobiose, this one is composed of two glucose molecules. And so the linkage and so the attachment of these two glucose molecules actually your beta 1,4. And so they produce your what they call this your cellulobiose is produced from the breakdown of your polysaccharide cellulose. And so accordingly, your mammalian gastrointestinal tract lacks the enzyme cellulase. And so it lacks the enzyme cellulase, and then that it lacks the enzyme cellulase that can break down your beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage between this beta glucose units. And so this your cellulobiose cannot be digested by your humans. Okay? Ayan, so let's take a look at your polysaccharides. And so your polysaccharides are complex structures of your carbohydrates. And so they contain contains your polysaccharide contains many monosaccharide units bonded to each other by glycosidic linkage. And so you have your general formula again of your C6H10O5. Okay, and so they are made up of your several saccharide groups again, and they do not exhibit reducing properties, and they made up of several hexose molecules minus the corresponding molecules of water. And so you have your types here. You have your homo polysaccharides. You have your carbohydrates with similar repeating units. And so under your homopolysaccharides, you have your glucosans. And so upon hydrolysis, will yield your glucose units only. Examples, you have your starch, your glycogen, your cellulose. And so kasi your starch, when you what you call this hydrolyze this one, it will yield your disaccharide unit maltose. And then that maltose is made up of your two glucose units. Same with your glycogen, also your cellulose, but then in the other form, that is in the beta form of your glucose, no? And then you have your fructosans, and so they are polymerized fructose units. And so when you hydrolyze your fructosans, it will yield you your fructose units only. Okay? And so you have the okay, and so let's take a look at your starch. Okay, and so your starch, this one is an example of your homopolysaccharides, no? And so this one is an example of your homopolysaccharides, okay? And so your starch, they are found abundantly in your plant kingdom, particularly in fruits, cereals, seeds, bulbs, and tubers accordingly. And so this is your starch is the most important constituent of your human diet, and they occur in the form of granules. And so I suppose you what they call this you appreciated or you noted the physical properties of your starch in the laboratory. Okay, and so your starch, this one is made up of your glucose monomers, of your alpha, probably your alpha glucose monomers that are actually linked by your glycoside alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. And so while in your cellulose below here, you have here your cellulose that is made up of your beta glucose. And so you have here your cellulose that is made up of your beta glucose. And each beta glucose actually are linked via your beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. And so via your beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage, ano ang 1 at 4 na sinasabi natin dito? And so let's number your carbon atoms in this way. And so you have, let's take it as first carbon atom, second carbon atom, third carbon atom, fourth carbon atom, fifth carbon atom, and this one will be your sixth carbon atom. Okay, and so let's do it on the other side, on the other glucose monomer, sorry. Three, and then you have it as four here, and then you have it as fifth. And then this one is your sixth carbon atom. And so at carbons 1 and 4, that is your what you call this, that is the formation of, that is your what you call this attachment of each glucose monomers. And so that is in case if you have your alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage, in case that you have your alpha glucose monomers. And so let's take a look at this. What is the difference between your beta glucose and your alpha glucose? Again, your alpha glucose, this one is the glucose that is are actually present in your starch, while your beta glucose, this one are your glucose monomers that what you call this comprises your cellulose. And so for this, the difference is you have an OH attached at your what you call this first at your first carbon. And so the attachment is below. And so the attachment is below. Okay? While for your beta glucose, the attachment is above. The attachment of your OH group is above accordingly. And so please note of the difference. Again, the attachment of your OH group in your first carbon position is below in your alpha glucose, while in your beta glucose, the attachment of your OH group is above your carbon 1. Okay? And so that is for your starch. Okay, so let's take a look at your heteropolysaccharides. Your heteropolysaccharides. And so this one are your heteropolysaccharides. Accordingly, upon hydrolysis, will yield your sugar and your sugar derivatives. Okay, examples of your heteropolysaccharides, they are your hyaluronic acid, your chondroitin sulfate. And so these are actually the two of the most common mucopolysaccharides in your human connective tissues. Okay, and so your heteropolysaccharides, and so in your connective tissues, and so they are found in the ears and nose, and in the end of your bones to reduce your friction accordingly. And so you have again your heteropolysaccharides. Examples of them are your hyaluronic acid and your chondroitin sulfate. Take a look at the digestion and absorption of your carbohydrates. Okay, and so for your complex carbohydrates, and so to be of value, to be important, and so they should undergo your digestion, and so they should undergo your digestion, and so to yield your absorbable forms. And so what are actually the absorbable forms of your carbohydrates? Of course, you have there your monosaccharides. Okay, and so you have here your dietary carbohydrates, and so these are what we are actually taking in. And so you have here your starch, your sucrose, and so your table sugar probably, your cellulose, your lactose or your milk sugar, your glycogen, these are from your liver of your from the liver of your animals, and then your pentosans. Okay? And so these are your dietary carbohydrates. Take a look at your starch. And so this is the most common dietary form of your carbohydrate. And so your starch, this one is made up of your amylose. And so this is the linear pattern of your glucose linked by alpha 1,4 glycosidic bonds. And so again, in your amylose, there is only your one type of bond that is present in your amylose. You have there your alpha 1,4 glycosidic bonds. And so that is again to give you your linear pattern of your carbohydrate. No? And then you have your amylopectin. And so this one is the branch polymer. And so you have your branch polymer linked by alpha 1,4 glycosidic bonds with the branch. And so you will have a linear pattern of your glucose and so linked by your alpha 1,4 glycosidic bonds, and the branching is at alpha 1,6 linkage. Okay, and so the connection here is at your 6 carbon position and your first carbon position. That is for your amylopectin. And so in your amylopectin, you will find your alpha 1,4 glycosidic bonds and your alpha 1,6 glycosidic linkage. Okay. So you have here an illustration of your branching of your amylopectin. And so you have here your branching, okay? And so again, number your carbon atoms here. You have one, two, three, four, five, and this one is your sixth carbon atom. And so you have here another one, one, two, three, four, five, six. And so the attachment is at one, first carbon, and at the sixth carbon position, giving you your alpha 1,6 glycosidic bonds. And if your glucose is made up of alpha glucose monomers. If beta naman siya, that is made up of beta, then you call it as beta 1,4 or beta 1,6 glycosidic bonds. Okay?